Welcome back to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. My name is Wayne Kimmel, managing partner of 76 Capital and host of this podcast. My guests today are Dylan Robbins, Kaitlyn Hurley, and Jonah Fialkow. Dylan is the founder and CEO of Lucra. Lucra is a 76 Capital portfolio company, and Lucra helps brands drive customer loyalty, engagement through competitions, challenges, and rewards built into their apps and their websites. Kaitlyn Hurley and Jonah Fialkow are the co-founders of Bracketology, a fantasy gaming and predictions platform built around reality television. In June of 2026, Lucra acquired Bracketology, bringing the companies together to combine Bracketology's highly engaged fan community with Lucra's gamification and rewards technology. Dylan, Kaitlyn, and Jonah, welcome to the 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show.
Thanks for having us, Wayne. Looking forward to talking.
Well, I'm really excited to have you back on the show, Dylan, and Kaitlyn and Jonah for the first time. Thanks for joining the show. How did this all come together, Dylan?
Yeah, I mean, Jonah and I think have known each other for years in the industry. Like, the industry's small, as you know, and while we were doing kind of in real life gamification and they were focused on reality TV, gamification broadly is a pretty small world. We'd seen each other at conferences. We were kind of like high level buddies and had a lot of mutual friends. And over the years, Lucra's been excited about doing more and more, digitally, as you know, Wayne. We've expanded into mini games and we're trying to breach into the kind of the digital world, not just in real life gamification. And we actually were talking with Jonah and Kaitlyn about a partnership. We said, hey, this could be a really interesting fit where we could gamify some of your experiences even further. So it started as a kind of traditional sales conversation and then evolved much further to where we are today.
So this is something that you and Jonah, got the opportunity to talk to each other at conferences and then brought Kaitlyn into the conversation. And how did this all sort of really happen?
Exactly. I think, timing is everything in these things, as you know, and, Jonah and Kaitlyn had been at this for Kaitlyn, I think, closer to 10 years with Batch Bracket, which I'm sure she'll talk about. And then, Jonah and Kaitlyn together over the past 5 years. And I think there was an opportunity. They'd grown so much product market fit, over 1 million players in the database, really active users, and they were craving monetization. Like every time I talked to them, that was the thing that they were focused on is how do we monetize more? And Lucra's whole shtick is we help businesses monetize. That's why we're a profit center for growth. And so it just was kind of a two pieces in the puzzle that were fitting together at the right time where we could hopefully help them supercharge what they're already doing really well. So it kind of happened naturally. It wasn't one of those, it was a quick, Jonah and Kaitlyn, as far as these things go, it was not years and years of diligence and acquisition work. We kind of aligned very quickly and we just said, let's get to work.
Yeah, I think it was 10 weeks from first email to closing doc signatures.
Pretty fast.
That's amazing. And so you probably didn't use any lawyers if it was 10 weeks.
No, the lawyers still have all the money. Don't worry. The lawyers still always end up with all the money. I think we had to pay more because we were trying to go so fast. So I think it ended up costing more.
We put them to work.
Yeah. Well, that's super.
We're going to make it worth everyone's while.
Yeah, it's super impressive. And I'm sure there are many other founders and entrepreneurs out there that want to meet your lawyers to get something done that fast. That's pretty amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations on that. And, Kaitlyn, let's go back. Dylan, stole a little bit of your thunder right there, but how did this all get started for you?
I started Bracketology's predecessor, Batch Bracket, back in 2016 while I was in college playing for the Bachelor franchise. I was a huge fantasy football player, and I thought, why doesn't this competitive thing exist for The Bachelor that I'm also watching with my friends? And so we created the league. We were scoring it in an Excel spreadsheet at the time, and people started hearing about it. They said, hey, I want to play. I was getting texts saying, can I join the league? Can I join the league? And we thought, let's put this online and see what happens. And thus Batch Bracket was born. And so we were primarily a Bachelor fantasy platform for quite some time until I met Jonah. And Jonah was like, hey, have you ever thought about making this a centralized hub for all reality TV gaming? I hadn't. And so we teamed up and Bracketology was born.
It's really amazing. I wish my wife would have thought about this idea. She watches all the shows. I don't get a chance to, but I would love to have the betting part of it. I've talked to Dylan about this, a couple times, but we never were able to figure it out. That's why I guess this makes so much sense for you guys coming together.
I think if you remember, Wayne, on the first investor deck we ever sent you in 2021, there was a slide about reality TV being a potential option. We had here's what we're focusing on now, but maybe one day we could figure this out. And we just have never been able to figure it out. And, that's why it was kind of kismet here, because rather than go build it all ourselves, they'd already done a lot of the hard work and had figured out this industry and have spent so much time and energy becoming experts at it that it was a great opportunity to acquire them and partner up.
So Jonah, I mean, how did you get involved in all this? How did it happen?
Yeah, this is why you go to networking events. When Kaitlyn moved to Chicago in 2021, we met at a networking event. She was sharing what she was building with Batch Bracket, and it's funny because I was not a huge reality TV fan. I had only ever seen 2 seasons of The Bachelor, and I was a religious Love Is Blind watcher. But I knew how passionate reality TV fans were, and I knew what Kaitlyn had built and the product market fit they had shown in the Bachelor franchise. So I just figured, like ESPN centralizing fantasy games for sports, there could be an opportunity to expand outside of the Bachelor to centralize fantasy gaming for all reality TV and award shows under one roof. And I always wanted to start a company, and I was 25 at the time, still on my parents' health insurance. So we partnered up. I quit my full-time job in sports marketing and became the first and only employee that was full-time as we rebranded from Batch Bracket to Bracketology.
What a great story. Amazing. I mean, so talk about what was Bracketology prior to this merger. Like, it'd be really helpful to share that, either of you.
Yeah, well, I'll happily give you the journey of the 5 years almost pre-Lucra. The first 2.5 years, we rebuilt the Batch Bracket web application in the rebrand, and started launching fantasy games for other shows. So that was step one, was expanding into Big Brother, Survivor, RuPaul's Drag Race, the Oscars. And now we provide gaming for 35 reality TV and award shows. We then launched a mobile application at the beginning of 2024, which is thankfully also right after Kaitlyn was able to join the team full time. And since then, we've had 400,000 downloads without spending really any money on marketing at all. It's been entirely organic. We've partnered officially with Fox to host official fantasy leagues for, I think, 6 of their reality TV shows now. And ultimately are super thrilled for, I guess, version 2 of Bracketology underneath, or version 3 of Batch Bracket underneath the Lucra umbrella.
So Kaitlyn, if you're a user, what's the experience? Like, how does it work? Watching one of these shows, and how does the whole thing work?
Yeah, so it's entirely free to play. Users can sign up for any number of reality TV shows. They can create a public or private league. They can play with as many friends as they want, anyone from just their husband on the couch next to them to, we have some leagues that have 4,000, 5,000 plus people in them. So any type of size. And then we offer a variety of game types. So you can play in draft mode where you're selecting a team of contestants and winning points based on what they say and do in the episode each week. You can do an eliminate game where you're eliminating who you think is going to get eliminated in the next episode. You can rank the contestants based on how well you think that they are doing or how more likely they are to stay in the competition. We have brackets. We have ballot type games like Jonah mentioned for the Oscars and a bunch of other award shows. And all of those points get added up throughout the season. We do all the scoring ourselves for you. So you just sit back, watch, and check your scores after each episode.
And Wayne, my wife Jordan and I, big reality TV fans also, we were doing this without knowing about Bracketology. We were sitting at home and we would be watching, Dancing with the Stars, and we'd watch the first episode and we'd each pick 3 dancers, and the loser had to do the dishes for the month, right? So we were already gamifying Lucra with Bracketology before that even happened, and now we can actually do this all in the app. But I think what Kaitlyn is hitting on is the fact that a lot of this stuff is already kind of similar to Lucra's ethos happening offline already. Like, the talk around reality TV is insane. The amount of people chatter online, TikTok, social media, etc. It's already so viral. People are the group texts and the fraternity and sorority chats and all the stuff happening around it is so high already that there's just a huge opportunity for them to digitize it and all have it in one place. So it's been really cool to see.
I mean, just the number of influencers and creators that are out there that are talking about this, the shows that are on, some are on like Sirius XM, some of them are just happening on Twitch, or, there's conversations there, conversations happening on YouTube. I mean, are there plans to start to engage, not only engage with them, but have them being involved with what you're doing?
Yeah, I think that the creator space has been one of the areas where we've seen a lot of our organic growth up to this point, because we have been around so long and because we've had to operate on such a scrappy $0 budget. We've had the opportunity to build these relationships with these content creators, with these podcasts, with these people that are also passionate fans of the show. And I think because we came at it from a fan lens as well, like I was the diehard reality fan that wanted to build a product that was really cool for people that wanted to play. I think that authenticity allowed us to build a lot of relationships with the creators and with these shows. And they've been the ones to go out and say, hey, listen to my podcast, and all of my listeners join my fantasy league. And then they've kind of helped us promote as well. So we've benefited a lot from the social sharing of bracketology. The average person that creates a league invites 4 friends. So there is that kind of like network effect of I'm playing, let me, invite my friends. And then, I got invited to a league, but I want to play with my family, so let me create a league. And so we've really benefited from a lot of those relationships that we've built, and we just want to keep building them too, because we definitely see the value for the creators of giving them something unique to talk about, giving them data around their leagues and who people are picking and what the trends are looking like, kind of the same way that sports, you track the players throughout the season, you're tracking all the stats, you're looking at the highest scorers and who you want to draft next. All of those kind of parallels apply for reality TV too.
I guess, I'm surprised, but I know that, with your partnership with Lucra, I'm going to start hearing more because, I get into my wife's car and listening to Andy Cohen, Jeff Lewis, all those characters, and like, they got to be talking about what Bracketology's working on with Lucra here. I mean, like that's what we need.
That's what's coming. I mean, when we were doing diligence on the acquisition, I really didn't believe what I saw at first, which was this is all organic growth. Like I was like, guys, how are you getting all these customers? Hundreds of thousands of people playing on a monthly basis. And they're like, well, people talk about us. And I would go and they would show me 30, 40, 50 clips of people for free talking about Bracketology because it's just cool. Right. And like, that's to me, like the nucleus of product market fit, right? Like the people want it so bad that they're willing to talk about it for free because it makes them, feel more engaging with their user base. So now to your point, what we want to add with Lucra and the resources we have in our network and our technology is let's get official partnerships with all of the major leagues and all the major networks. Let's do bigger influencer partnerships. Let's have more bigger prizes and rewards. Take what they've done, that nucleus, and just blow it up, right? And so I think they've done the hard part, I think, already, which is build a really engaging product, and now hopefully we can just help it scale.
And Kaitlyn, I think one of the really unique things, certainly from a fantasy, people think about fantasy and they, like, oh, it's fantasy sports, or it's, they think about, being able to get into these different types of pools and it's sports, but like, this is different. And I also understand that, your breakdown between male and female is really special.
Yeah, I think, 61% of the people that play on Bracketology are women. That has skewed even more, it was even higher when it was just The Bachelor. As we added more shows, I think we add in a little bit more diversity as well. But I think that, women are very much passionate about reality TV in the same way that a lot of people are passionate about sports. And I think that that's a really cool, unique thing, is to meet those people where they are, where, hey, we still want this competition. We still care about tracking all of these things and watching these things religiously with our communities and our friends. It's still creating that same social buzz and community. And last season of Dancing with the Stars, one of the most viral posts that kind of helped explode our season was a post that said, why don't we have fantasy football for Dancing with the Stars? Which was an easy thing for us to say, oh, we do. Here you go. It's Bracketology. And that kind of like triggered this huge explosion of, oh my God, wait, like my boyfriend's at his fantasy football draft while I'm at my mirror ball draft. And so we've kind of leaned into that ethos. And I think on the flip side, bracketology offers that same excitement of competitive fantasy sports for men and women. You know, we have a lot of husbands and boyfriends who are now watching Love is Blind religiously because they want to beat their girlfriend at the fantasy league. So I think that it just taps into that thing, which is core of competition, makes things more exciting. And I think that's why the Lucra tie-in was so nice, because that's something that they've been proving for years. And so that's kind of like just feeding into that competition for both men and women and just giving them something that they're passionate about to play fantasy games for has kind of always been the vision.
Wayne, I saw a funny stat that on Instagram yesterday that if, let's say I watch reality TV an hour or two a night, which I kind of, maybe not every night, but, maybe 4 or 5 nights a week, I watch an hour here or there, right? If you add all that up, it's about the same amount of hours of watching football on Saturday or Sunday for the season. Like if you just add up, like, okay, so it's like pretty similar, like level of like hyper engagement. Like if you look, a lot of people out there say, I love football. I watch, 3 or 4 hours on a Saturday and 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday. And that's normal. Just as normal to watch an hour or two of reality TV every night, 3 or 4 nights a week. And so you have that same level, like you compare the market and look at the NFL fandom and how big that is. This is just as big in a different way. Right. And it's just underutilized and underserviced and under-monetized. And so like those two things are parallel. The amount of time that people are spending watching NFL is probably more on reality TV for the people who are engaged in reality TV, and it's just not monetized. So I just view the opportunity to be just, almost unfathomable.
Well, I mean, Jonah, I was going to ask you the question of why do you think that, bracketology, the right home for you guys was Lucra? But I mean, after seeing Dylan just, the passionate, description of why this is so important and such an opportunity together, we'll share more. Like what really was, the big thing that kind of made it say like for you and Kaitlyn, like, yeah, let's go do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key word that you said there is passion. I think, one of my all-time role models is Jim Valvano, and I think it was in his ESPYs speech, he quoted Ralph Waldo Emerson saying that nothing great was ever achieved without enthusiasm. And I think that reality TV fans are as passionate or more passionate than sports fans are about their chosen area of entertainment. And I think Lucra shares the same mentality that we do. And just Dylan and the Lucra leadership team as human beings are so excited and passionate about what they're working on and instilling more fun and engaging competitions that connect people. It was kind of a no-brainer. And it's nice to get acquired by a company and a leader of someone who has mentored you for the past few years as well. And now Dylan and I get to work together on a day-to-day basis. And I think that just as founders too, Kaitlyn and I have been able to build bracketology with a unbelievably scrappy mindset. I never took a salary from bracketology in the 5 years that I built it. I work at Wrigley Field as a beer and hot dog vendor, and that is how I pay my bills. And now we get to team up with a well-funded team of driven, like-minded startup professionals, and we're going to have resources for the first time. So you see what we've been able to accomplish before that. And now we've got Dylan and Jordan and the rest of the Lucra team. I think we're in for a very exciting end of 2026, 2027 and beyond.
Yeah, Dylan, I mean, where do things go over the next 12 to 24 months?
Yeah, it's so exciting. I mean, I think we kind of have it in kind of a couple phases. Phase one is like, it ain't broke, don't fix it. So we're not trying to change everything overnight. They have a huge, we always say the Super Bowl of reality TV is September. I mean, it's Dancing with the Stars, it's Amazing Race, it's Survivor, it's Traders, there's 10 other shows, etc. So that's coming up around the corner. Phase one is let's integrate Lucra well. So phase one is you'll be able to do what you already do on bracketology with the ability to play for stuff, prizes, rewards, discounts, all those types of things. So that's kind of phase one, and that's going to be a home run, just taking what they do well and amplifying it. Phase two is trying to add kind of new game types in there and things that we're working together on, things like Lucra's mini games and other formats and things like that. phase 3, and this is part of what Jonah said with resources, is, they scrapped together a pretty cool app with limited resources. Let's invest in that. Like, people are using this. Like, we want to look at a new UX, new UI, some new design, really build their brand up further. And phase 4 is new markets. We've been having conversations about things outside of TV and award shows, and there's opportunities out there that these guys can further grow. So I think over the next 12, 24 months, you're going to see a lot of the same. So bracketology fans, don't expect your games to just change overnight, but a lot of new things to do on top of that amplifies the experience even further.
And Kaitlyn, how do you see the next several months to year, and sort of the integration with Lucra's team, and what's it been like to have much larger team now and all these resources to be able to go after it?
Honestly, it's been amazing. I think before bracketology, I worked in performance marketing for 10 years. And so I had these kind of multi-million-dollar budgets where I was planning media spend across multiple channels. And then when we started bracketology, it was like, okay, your media budget is $0. Go to work. And so it's been really fun to be able to invest in user acquisition and start to make some plans for real investment and how we grow this company. I think one of the things that's always frustrated Jonah and me is that anyone we talk to that hears about bracketology is like, that's so awesome. That's such a good idea, but they hadn't heard of it. And so to us, all we need to do is get the idea in front of fans of these shows, and it's a natural alignment. It's a natural click way to make things more fun. And so I'm really looking forward to getting the brand in front of these diehard fans and saying, here's a fun and free way to gamify the engagement that you're already doing. So that's been really great. Again, I think the team and the resources have already leaned in so much and given us so many great ideas and so much feedback. Jonah and I did a lot of great work from Bracketology HQ, aka my kitchen table. But I think that having a full squad of people ready to invest not only in the product, not only in the marketing, but in also the partnerships and the expanded engagement with the networks and all of these kind of different ways that we think we can really solidify and embed bracketology into the reality TV culture and ecosystem even more. The dreams are big over here, Wayne. We're looking at some big goals for the next 6 months, 12 months.
Well, it's been amazing working with Dylan. We're really excited to work with both of you on this. And I start thinking about one of the things that Dylan and I talk about a lot is the physical world and the digital world, and how do you bring this all together? And I think what's so interesting is I typically think about that and talk to Dylan about that on the just pure sports side of things, but this can even bring more people to the table. How do you feel about that, Jonah?
Yeah, I think my favorite thing in life is connecting with people, and I've been able to do that both in person, working at Wrigley Field, and now with a whole different subset of people, of reality TV fans. And in order to build bracketology, I had to do my homework, because a reality TV fan will sniff out someone who is a fraud in an instant. So I watched more reality TV than anyone. And I think that as we continue to build the online and the mobile app and the gaming, then all of these other supplemental ways to connect in person will kind of follow. So people, I watch 7 hours of Red Zone with my fantasy football league on Sundays, just the guys hanging out in the living room. Reality TV is having that same community watch party push. There are pop-up reality TV watch parties that are happening at bars. And now you can also compete with the people there. And even further, we are going to be able, hopefully early next week, launching the Lucra SDK into the Bracketology app. You can connect with people in person and win real rewards at these venues. So I think there are just so many parallels between the two. And I love humans. And this is why I'm so passionate about working on Bracketology, is you get to connect with people that just are excited about this form of entertainment. And I think it's contagious. And hopefully we can continue to build a tool that helps people, elevate their fandom.
And Wayne, I'll add, I also think there's much more overlap than you think between reality TV and sports in terms of the customer, right? So there's obviously a lot of people who are maybe have favorite of one or the other, but I would say most people watch sports and watch reality TV. And that's a very interesting thing for us as we grow our business and potential partnerships with some of the major sports brands. And there's an opportunity for some cross-marketing potential. And so we kind of see it as like, how do we just build fandom in general? And this is our niche with Bracketology, building over here. With Lucra, we're building it in arcades and mini golf courses and, online mini games and our, green grass golf, etc. Can we bring that all together and just kind of build loyalty and fandom across the board, right? So I think it fits very nicely into just where we think the world is headed.
Yeah. Truthfully, I think entertainment is like the most important thing and the fabric of a society. And there's enough division in the world already. And what we're doing is trying to stimulate more connection. So I feel like at my core very, very strongly about what we're building here.
And Kaitlyn, I mean, and it's really for you and Jonah. I mean, for both of you, I mean, it's really just, what did your family think about, when you're like, hey, I'm going to kind of going all in on this reality TV thing. And when probably several people in your family are probably like, you're watching too much of that stuff, or what are you doing? Like, and you're like, no, this, yeah, I'm watching too much of that stuff because there's like millions and millions of people watching too much of that stuff.
Yeah, well, our first season that we launched Batch Bracket, we had 300 people playing, and I'm pretty sure that 40% of them were my family members in some capacity, where I was like, please join my thing that I'm starting. So my family overall has been kind of like my biggest fan throughout this entire thing. Every time we need a review or someone to test or whatever, my mom was actually very insulted last week that I didn't have her test our new app with Lucra because we had the whole Lucra team to test. But historically, who am I going to ask to test? It's going to be my mom. And so I think that there's definitely always been that support. I think that there's we hear that a lot of this, like, oh, reality TV, it's garbage entertainment, et cetera, et cetera. And I think it's just it's generally coming from outsiders of people that aren't interested in reality TV. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. But at the same time, like, I don't think that there's you're not wasting any more time watching reality TV than watching sports, than doing a lot of other things, right? I think there's just so much to be learned from reality TV. It's such a microcosm of culture. If you watch reality TV now compared to what it used to be 10 years ago, you could do an entire sociology dissertation on how it's changed in the last 10 years. And so I think that, like, it's very easy to be dismissive of it. I think part of that is because it's primarily been something that women watch, to be honest. But I think that there is just so much fun and community around all of this. That I've only gotten nothing but support from my friends and family, and they're just very excited for this new Lucra phase as well.
You make such a good point, though, Kaitlyn, too, though, about like, what is great about reality TV is it lets you just kind of transport into another world for a second. Like, life is hard, you're super busy, like at the end of a long day. It's the same as sports. Like when I watch football on Sunday, I'm just trying to like detox, like watch, and I'm like, all of a sudden I'm in the game, I'm focused there. When I'm watching Love is Blind, Jonah, also one of my favorite shows, as I'm just like, obviously it's just another life I'm never going to live. Like, I'm married, I have a kid, I have this wonderful life I have, but like there's this crazy world out there, people meeting without and getting married without meeting each other. And you can just like, it's just like fantasy land, right? So it's like, it's cool to be able to just kind of separate that, and it's a great, like, relaxer after a long day. So there's a lot of parallels there.
Jonah, you wanted to jump in there?
Yeah, I was going to talk about my family's support and influence in making bracketology what it is. It's funny. I can pinpoint the exact moment that I decided that I was going to quit my full-time job to take a leap of faith and go into the startup realm. In October of 2021, I was actually at. He wasn't technically my grandfather, but he was my cousin's grandfather on the in-law side. But we were at his funeral, and at the Shiva, I was talking to my cousins, who are some of my biggest role models. And my cousin Cam graduated from Stanford, similar to Dylan, not in undergrad though, and went into consulting full time, was traveling 5 days a week, making a great salary, and on the day of his 1 year anniversary, and when his initial vesting of initial stock options hit, he left to become a full-time clown and pursue the art of clown comedy, and has studied with some of the most prestigious people in France and has performed at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. And I'm sitting here, a 25-year-old, at this Shiva brunch, and I'm talking to him and my other cousins who have also pursued alternate career paths. And they're like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I am so much happier pursuing something that I am interested in and that I have put sweat equity in than I would have been if I'd stayed in the corporate world. So they were the ones that convinced me that it was time to take the leap of faith. And in my head, I kind of just framed it. And my advice that I always give people is, when I was weighing out this decision, it didn't really feel risky to me to make the leap of faith. It felt riskier to stay in my 9 to 5 and always wonder what if. And without me going full time, and then 2 years later, without Kaitlyn joining me full time, there was absolutely no chance that we would have been able to build what we have today. So I owe a lot to my family and their support, and also the bracketology and batch bracket community for continuing to propel us forward. And now we get to also include the Lucra family and the Lucra stakeholders involved. And I'm really, really excited to get to work with you guys as well.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I mean, there a couple more things as we wind down here on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. I mean, this has been an awesome conversation. So great to have this conversation with both of you, and have this, and have the connection with Dylan and the whole team at Lucra. It's super exciting. I mean, when you think about the future and of all of this, and we talked about like what could happen, but like, are there some really wild ideas out there? This idea of like a sports league or a team that's in reality. I mean, like how that all kind of comes together, like a Hard Knocks something or other.
I was just about to say Hard Knocks. I was like, Hard Knocks is kind of like the foot in the door for where this could go, right? Like Hard Knocks has given us a look into like a little bit of reality of what sports could be. And also Mr. Beast, I think what he's doing with Beast Games is also opening the door to like new demos. And so I think like, Jonah, as you said, like if you look at reality TV or Kaitlyn 10 years ago and how it's changed, in 10 years, it's also going to look very different. And I think a lot of that's going to be just more breadth to the type of content that's available, or personalized reality. One thing I always think about is with AI, can we do personalized reality TV? Like, why do I have to watch the same show that Jonah's watching? Like, can't Netflix create a way to kind of personalize it to I can't give it a prompt and say, I want to watch a show about X. I want to see, I want to see darts players do a reality TV show, whatever. And it just like does it for me, like that's the world that we're headed into. It's crazy times.
Yeah. I think the number one thing that I think is similar to Hard Knocks, but there are so many different things that I think people find interesting. I can watch a master of something, no matter what it is. I will watch them do it. Rubik's Cubes, cup stacking. And I think that the future of reality TV creation is kind of honing in on that excellence and prestige and engaging those communities. And also, I would love for shows to create the framework of the actual show itself with the idea that their fans are going to be able to kind of play along as they watch. In some sort of fantasy gaming capacity. But my one pitch is if any directors or producers are listening out there, make a reality TV show about the Wrigley Field beer and hot dog vendors. That is it's the marriage of sports and reality television. And also personally, I would love to be a part of that. I'm going to get cast on one of these shows one day.
Yeah.
This has been amazing. It's been amazing having all of you on the show. So excited to have this conversation. Really looking forward to working with you. Having these kinds of, I feel this is almost like a brainstorming session that we just got to have publicly. But that's what this is all about, and that's what it's all about. Building amazing companies, working with incredible people, and that's what we're all about at 76 Capital. I know that's what you are all about at Lucra and at Bracketology. And as we wrap up here, what's the best way for people who, if you're a producer and you want to create a new show, call up Jonah, but like, what's the best way for people to play bracketology, to play on Lucra? How do people do that?
Yeah. Bracketology, free to download in your iOS and Android app stores. You can follow us on social at bracketology.tv. You'll see a lot of my reality TV pyramid ranking videos that fans often weigh in on and tell me how wrong I am at my rankings mid-season. So feel free to participate in the conversation. Or go to bracketology.tv, wherever you get your web browsing.
Well, that's amazing. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us on our 76 Capital Sports Leadership Show. I wish all of you the best of luck and look forward to all getting together soon in person.
Thanks again, Wayne. Great to be here.
That's great.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you.
On behalf of the entire 76 Capital team, thank you for joining us for this edition of our Sports Leadership Show. Please remember to subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast network or on the 76 Capital website. You can also explore the hundreds of episodes we've produced over the past several years on those same networks. And as always, go out there and make it happen.